cares about that subtextual shit? Get to the kill!
Maybe you're right. When I first read The Hills Run Red, I was intrigued by the idea that we're looking at the world of film and the genre of horror film, which I've been a fan of and for a long time. It's sort of like we've taken that world and pushed it just a little bit further. So as well as there being the mandatory murders and decapitations and horror, there's, at the same time, we're looking at filmmaking. And in some ways, it's filmmaking in its purest form. I mean, it's what every film I've ever done is trying to do, but can't. I mean, we don't make snuff movies. We don't actually do these things and film them. I don't anyway. But the idea that somebody was that committed to his vision of this film that he would keep making the same movie for 20 years. I love the idea of there being a mythology to it. There's more going on than how is the next pretty girl going to die in some creative way.
And action.
But the other thing that I found intriguing about it was the character.
Yeah, except I don't have all those wrinkles on my neck.
Yeah. We added that.
It is, it's cool.
I find myself either drawn to these people or not. And as I was reading Concannon, almost immediately I started imagining, like, oh, how would I do that? How would you do? Oh, if I read a script and the character doesn't start to appear before me, doesn't start to form in my head, then you have to fake it and dig deeper, and it's not as much fun.
One more? You want more? Okay, that's a cut.
I like playing people who have passions. They live for something more than just to eat and work and reproduce. He has a vision and a goal in life that he's ready to give everything for. And I mean, not only sacrifice himself, but everybody else in the room for this sort of film immortality. These things are really fun. It was like the Tales from the Crypt that I did. One of the reasons that Walter Hill enjoyed shooting it was that it was like guerrilla filmmaking again. He'd been doing features and features and features. This was something that, you know, set it up and shoot. We stopped in the middle of a bridge. We didn't have permits. We had nothing. But they found this bridge with traffic going by underneath it in Los Angeles. Jumped out of the van, set up the camera quick. I did the monologue and walked away. And that was, it's in the film. It was this sort of, you know, flying by the seat of your pants again. It was a chance for filmmakers to improvise. You know, let's try it. What the hell? You know, what's the worst going to happen? It won't work. You know, we'll have to do something else.
Clear your shadow, and action. Get angry. I think he's dead.
One more.
Okay.
All right.
All right, that's a cut. Bring in William and Ted.
My theater background, I think, is a large part of what I bring to the film. I spent and still do spend time working on plays, and I don't know, I did like 11 years of theater in New York before I ever did my first film. What the theater brings to it, it gives you a set of tools. It gives you stuff to work with. You have to find a character, you have to make some choices, you have to take the scene apart and then put it back together. I did Biloxi Blues for a year and a half, and the people at the end of the run paid $130 for that seat too, you know? They want to see the same show, and it doesn't matter if you have a headache, doesn't matter if your feet hurt, you got a fight with your wife.
Action, Bill.
So you're the one that made a life study of my film.
Where are my friends?
There's just craftsmanship involved. There is a craft to this art, and I think the theater gives you a great founding in that, a foundation. It gives you the tools to work in this medium. That said, when you get into a film situation, you make those choices, you make those decisions quickly, and you begin to trust your instincts about stuff. You then have to throw it out the window. When the camera starts rolling, it can't look like you're playing to a 1,200 seat theater. Your character doesn't know how the scene ends, you know? Your character doesn't know what the next line is, any more than I know what the next thing I'm going to say is.
Size him up a little bit. Just like let him soak you in a bit. Shh. I thought you were dead. Shh. It's called acting. It's called acting, boy. That girl's a work of art. That girl's a work of art. And then you'd be like,
It would be wise to start.
and you're gonna walk over,
Don't let people set up.
grab these 3 cans, bring them over where he goes. Tyler says, "Line, I thought you were him. Babyface." Boom. Probably sit down. And again, it's like, well, not at first. The original wasn't much of an actor. And, but, yeah, so it's like, that girl's a work of art. And you'd stop this thing, get up. So he's going, "I thought you were him." Grab that baby face, like, boom. It's like, not at first. That first one wasn't much of an actor. And then turn that back on. It's like everyone, yeah, everyone's expendable for the. And then you guys watch for a minute, and then you go. Everyone's expendable.
What he's watching is me act.
Yeah.
First baby face to go.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of improvisation involved. And the very cool thing about film is that if something occurs to you in the moment, at the time, in the scene, and you do it, and you pick up the film can and you slam it on the table, and you scare the crap out of the actor that you're playing with, the whole room goes like this. All of a sudden, there's like this electricity in the air, and the scene lifts off the page. Something unexpected and scary has just happened, for real. Nobody got hurt. Nothing was put at risk. If you didn't like the take, we can not do it the next take, you know. But in that moment, something real happened to everybody, including the actor that you're playing with. And it colors the rest of the scene. Everything that's said after that takes on the heat of what just occurred. As I get older in this business, I work more and more with people who are younger. Everybody's getting younger. What I have to watch out for, it's very enjoyable. It's very flattering to come on a set and people know me from this and know me from that, and I loved you forever. And so you start to feel like, you know, the grandfather on the set. But the cool thing about working with people like Tad and Janet and so on is when you can, help them without being the teacher. Don't sit there on the set and tell stories all day long. When I was in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, try not to make it be too much about yourself. If you're going to show them something, show them by example.
I thought you were him. Babyface?
Not at first, but the original wasn't much of an actor, you know what I mean? And now I'm so much lower than you are.
Yeah, we'll raise you up.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what
all about it.
That's what I think. So don't you do anything.
Maybe I'm a little higher. The way you behave on the set, the way you approach a scene, the way you'll go after a moment, the way you'll get a hold of your fellow actor and drag him into the moment. They bring a lot of talent and great energy to the game. And it's like Tad said afterwards, it's sort of like playing tennis with somebody who's really good at tennis. You play better. The same exact thing happens to me. That's exactly what it feels like. You bring your game, everybody in the room plays better. And not just the actor, everybody in the room says, oh, I got to do the sound right, and I've got to get this right, I've got to get that right. And it's good. It's I don't know. And you try to do it without being an asshole about it. Right. But I don't know. It is always fun to work with younger actors. Now I'm curious how much you're going to see of this hand, because I come in like that.
Okay, let me just fix it. If you can do it like that, it's perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Concannon has this big Dennis Hopper in Easy Rider mustache thing going in the flashbacks when you're trying to show the man back in the 70s as this Western outlaw / filmmaker / I mean, if we'd had time to go further, we could have done Native American beads and fringe jackets. It wouldn't have been too much.
77 Charlie, take 1 A-cam.
Mark.
B-cam.
Focus on the paper. Yeah. Nobody moves on the porch, please. Set.
And action.
Son of a bitch! What the hell is that supposed to be? I didn't look real. Oh, damn it. Give me this thing. I'll show you what I mean. I'll be you, all right? Look. All right? Quit. Now. Right here. Right here. All right. Hey. Action.
But the stash just looked great. It looked like I don't know. It looked right. She put it. There was talk of a beard. There was talk of how do we sell him 30 years ago, and actors. God damn it. Right here. That's it. Good enough. You ready? And action. Cut! Print! For a while we were talking about having the he has this great big mustache and mutton chops. And then when you see him older, it's white. The mutton chops are gone, his hair's gone gray, and the mustache is now gray, but it's the same mustache. But that idea got axed. I thought it was cool.
Reminds me of a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, huh?
Doctor, what's going on?
Yeah, he got a thing in his pants and they thought
It's always fun to travel to do these things, and you get to go to some glamorous places like Mansfield, Ohio, and Shreveport, Louisiana, or Sofia, Bulgaria. And I thought, I think they told me it was shooting in Bulgaria before I read the script. And I thought, oh, they must need Hungarian mountains and castles and, you know, people in Lederhosen or something, which is not the case. The whole thing is like set in the American South, you know, it's like in the hills of Georgia or something. But it was cheaper to shoot it here. But it's just kind of part of the adventure. You get to, I've never been to Bulgaria before, and I don't know how to say lots of Bulgarian words. We won't go into here. It's always flattering to hear that people have favorite films that I've done, and everybody seems to have their own favorite film. They're not all the same at all. It's flattering. It's always flattering, and I always say thank you. I'm always gracious. I also, at the same time, I feel very, very fortunate that I've had the opportunities along the way to do these, you know, all this long list of this checkered career of mine. You don't realize when you're making these things that they're going to go out there and become part of somebody's life. I played the Grim Reaper. They executed a man named John Alton Harris, I think. They executed him in California, and after the execution, the warden came out and read his final words, and the press picked up on it because his final words were the Reaper rap that I had written for the Grim Reaper. All of a sudden, people are calling me and saying, you know, did you know that you had written John Alton Harris' last words on Earth? And I thought, I hate to lose a fan under any circumstances, but if I'd known they were going to be his last words, I would have spent more time writing them or something. But nonetheless, you do this stuff, and it gets out into the world, and I'm always flattered, and I'm always surprised when it comes back, and people say you know, Shawshank got me through this difficult time, or you know, and you go, you're welcome.
Come on!
Finish it. Finish it.